so Good morning from America.
I was like, wait, where is that?
It's good to be back, guys. This is gonna be my first leg day in a long time. I admit it. I haven't been training legs while being in Europe too much. But you know, the way I see it is my leg days was walking 10 miles a day. New Beam pre-workout flavor, Hawaiian Breeze. This came out while we were in Europe, so this is like my second day using it, but like it tastes so good. And you already know that Maddie's got the code. Yo, Maddie, what's the code?
Mad Oak, M-A-D-O-A-K. Saves you a good chunk of money, and honestly, the supplements are a super great quality for a super great price already, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a pretty big fan of like Hawaiian flavored stuff, but like tropical, you know what I mean? Like, but like, it's good, dude.
It's really good, and I like it. I don't normally like tropical flavored things because I'm not a big coconut fan. So I think it's like the nice in between we both love.
Yeah, I mean, it's not super coconutty, but it's definitely like that tropical flavor, which I'm a fan of. Well, guys, it's officially October, which is the best month of the year for a couple reasons. Number one, pumpkin spice everything. Big pumpkin spice guy right here. So this morning I had some pumpkin spice cereal for my pre-workout meal. And number two, it's because it's my birthday month. I am October's very own, AKA Breezy B, AKA Brady. My birthday's coming up, and because it's my birthday, I decided to surprise myself by buying a car. Yeah, I bought a car. So that's what this video is gonna be about. I'm gonna talk a lot of financial stuff when it comes to playing the car game and being smart with your finances and being able to get, I don't know, like, I'm not an expert or anything, but like I feel like I know the car game a lot better than most people, especially like other guys in their 20s and stuff. So yeah, I think this will interest you, especially if you are someone that wants to, you know, start driving the cars that you really want to drive, being able to save money, make smart investments with it, and ultimately, guys, I'm just really excited because I bought a car yesterday. I bought it yesterday, and I'm going to show you everything. So yeah, but first, leg day. So I mean, in all honesty, my leg days are pretty boring and pretty basic. I don't do anything too crazy, too unique, but honestly, for my goals, that works for me. The one thing I do care about is my calves. I used to never care about my calves, but then I've talked about this before, but just the realization that like in men's physique, no, your legs aren't judged, but it won't hurt to have better calves than the guy next to you on stage. So I'm going for that. I've gotten some compliments already that my calves have grown, and it's pretty cool. Maddie's out here crushing some hamstrings and glutes today. You know, she's wearing glasses today, and they're blue light blockers, so they're not prescription. I think she's just trying to be like me. Dude,
I don't know. It was so early. I don't know why I put them on. I'm cute with my tee on. Do you like my new tee?
Yeah, this is Maddie's team shirts that she's coming out with for summer shredding.
Summer shredding is in 10 days from today.
Wow.
So much is happening, but yeah, we'll definitely have like 1 or 2 videos from Houston next week, so be on the lookout. Some quality gym music going on right now. But I actually already did the seated variation, which is right over here for my calves. And now it's onto the straight leg variation, which in my opinion is a little bit more important, but here we go. You know you hit your calves well when you like can't walk normally afterwards. So one of the first things that I did when we got home from our trip was weigh ourselves. I actually lost 14 pounds in Europe. Now that's right, you guys, 14 pounds in 1 month in Europe. Now I do think some of that was just a lot of muscle fullness, so we'll see if I end up gaining a little bit of weight and evening out a little bit more, but 14 pounds is a lot. Now even though I lost 14 pounds, my coach wants me to be around 190 to 195 by around January time frame, and the reason we're doing this is so we can kind of stay in the pocket a little bit better, not go too overboard with my body fat percentage. And hearing that I had to get to 190, 195 when I was 217 was a little daunting, I admit, but losing 14 pounds in Europe definitely sped that up and made it a little less overwhelming. That being said, I still am doing some cardio because we got a big old trip coming up. Haven't said where yet, but I'll tell you guys soon. But where we're going, it's definitely going to be sunny, it's going to be nice outside, and it won't hurt to be a little bit more lean. So we're doing cardio most days of the week now. All right, guys, we are home, and it's time to get to the topic of this video. Let's see the car that I purchased yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. And this is what I was driving before, by the way. 2020 Ford Ranger. and this is the car that I now own because I bought it yesterday. So you're probably asking yourself, does that mean that you didn't own it before? And that's what we're gonna talk about now. We're gonna talk cars and finances for a second. So the reason I bought my truck, and to make sense of that whole situation, is because before, my truck was on a lease. Now, I've actually been leasing cars for about like 6 years now, and I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there when it comes to leasing vehicles. I think people are naturally taught that leasing is bad, that it's a waste of money. I think there's an old school mindset these days that you need to go get like some used junk of a car and drive it into the ground, and then at that point you can go and buy another used crappy car. Though I understand this side of the argument, I want to talk real quick about why I have chosen to lease my vehicles, and then ultimately why I chose to buy my truck and why it was an excellent investment for me. Hopefully by the end of this video, you're gonna understand my mindset a little bit better. I hope to teach you something when it comes to cars and how to save money, how to get more out of your cars, how to turn your cars into assets instead of liabilities, and just all the above. So the first time I leased a vehicle was because I was in college. I had no money and I needed a very reliable car. I was living in Idaho at the time. Where I lived at in Idaho, it snowed a lot. We were right next to the Tetons and we got a ridiculous amount of snow. And it was also 1,000 miles away from home. So I needed a car that was not gonna break down in the middle of Wyoming on my way to Idaho. And I also needed a car that wasn't gonna be dangerous to drive in a place with so much snow. So I ultimately decided to lease a Jeep. I couldn't afford to buy one at the time. Now I got a great offer on my first Jeep. I was only paying $220 a month to lease this vehicle. This helped me in a lot of ways because for one, like I mentioned, I had a reliable vehicle, but number two, it built my credit up. At such a young age, I didn't have any credit, and in this world, you have to have credit to be able to do anything. Eventually, I traded in that Jeep and I got a new one, and then from there, I traded that Jeep in for my truck. Now, the specific reason why I chose my truck to lease and not purchase was a couple of reasons. Number one, I wanted the truck because I knew that trucks have a good appreciation value. I'm gonna talk real quick about appreciation and depreciation if you don't understand what that means. But vehicles and literally houses, everything is either an asset or a liability. If you have a vehicle that has a good resale rate, then the appreciation value is better. If you have something that as soon as you drive it off the lot, it loses $5,000, $10,000, then that is a massive depreciation value, and ultimately it's a liability. Most vehicles are liabilities. Buying a car is almost never an asset, but the key word here is almost never an asset. Real quick, I want to talk about how millionaires buy Lamborghinis for cheaper than you buy a used Toyota Camry. Rich people understand leveraging debt, and they understand this whole concept of depreciation, appreciation, assets, liabilities, all of that. Essentially, you could buy a Lamborghini for, let's say, $300,000, drive it for a year, enjoy the heck out of it, and then after your year is up, you could resell it for $300,000. Ultimately meaning that you owned a Lamborghini and drove it and enjoyed it and spent $0. But I don't think most people understand that, and so we end up buying this, you know, maybe a used $15,000 car, drive it into the ground, we're lucky to sell it for $3,000, and we think that we saved a lot of money when in fact you actually spent $12,000 for a crappy car. So understanding this, I wanted to put myself in a position to potentially get an asset. So I went to the dealership, I liked my truck, and I got it. But rather than buying it outright, which would have cost probably 3 times the amount per month, I decided to lease it. I ended up getting my truck for only $300 a month on a lease. Now, what people don't understand about leases is that in the contract of your lease, it tells you that you have priority over the buyout, and they tell you the exact price of that buyout. So I knew how much my truck was gonna cost me if I decided to turn my lease into a purchase. And all the money I spent on that lease actually goes into that purchase price. So I was essentially driving a brand new truck for a third of the price, and all the money I was spending on it was going towards ownership if I decided to. Well, because of the market now, I decided to look at to see the value of my truck to begin with. And that truck is about $36,000, and right now they're selling for $37,000 to $40,000 used with that mileage. So I've been literally driving my truck at an extreme discounted rate, but it's worth more than what I could buy it for. Meaning that yes, it's an asset. So I decided to do the smart thing and I decided to purchase it. Purchasing it means that I own that asset. I could now even though I just bought it, I could go around and sell that truck and make $1,000, maybe even $3,000. So now this is kind of the cool part to me, because now that I own this thing, I decided to, you know, get it for the lowest payment. So that's why I'm paying $500. It's on like a 6 or 7 year purchase program because my credit was good enough. And people, I think, will naturally think that's really dumb to extend your payments like 6 or 7 years. But here's the thing, I'm not gonna own that truck for 6 or 7 years. I'm gonna own that truck for maybe 1-2 years max. And my plan is to trade it in and try to get a Bronco or a Raptor or something that I really want. But here's the deal, because I really want a Bronco or a Raptor, and by the way, just a quick backstory, the reason why I didn't get a Bronco or a Raptor is because they're unavailable right now. They're literally sold out like crazy and people are having to wait 1-2 years to get them. So I just wasn't able to, which is partially why I went into this purchase. But here's the deal, in a year or so, I could turn in my truck and essentially put that towards a really nice Bronco, and I would end up getting that Bronco for essentially 50 to 60% off because of the trade-in value of that truck. And then if I were to look at it at a 3 year, you know, if I were to back up and look at this for 3 years, I would essentially have driven my dream truck for 3 years, brand new, and not paying a dime. And then going and getting a Bronco for 50 to 60% off. That right there is smart financing. Another worst case scenario is I sell it in a year, and maybe it dropped a little bit in its appreciation value, and maybe I end up having to spend, you know, maybe I only sell it for $35,000, let's say. Well, even then, that means that I drove a truck that I love, a brand new truck, for $1,000 for 3 years, which is pretty good. So either way, it's been a huge win-win situation for me. In my opinion, you should never purchase a vehicle unless that vehicle is most likely going to be an asset, such as a, you know, a mid-sized truck, a Jeep Wrangler, like a bigger truck like a Raptor. A lot of F-150s retain their value really well, or supercars essentially. But most other cars lose a ton of money as soon as you drive it off the lot, making it a giant liability and not something that you should invest your money in. And I do recommend leases because it gives you basically a trial run. Maybe you drive it for a little bit and maybe you don't like it, you can trade it in pretty much at any time. Or like me, you can lease something that might be an asset, and as soon as you see the depreciation value at the end of the 2 or 3 year lease, you can decide whether to purchase it or not. If not, then no harm, no foul, because you essentially just drove a really nice brand new car for maybe, I don't know, $2,000 or $3,000 a year, which is not bad, and you get the perks of a lease. Quick story, I actually broke down in the middle of Wyoming with my lease. It wasn't a mechanical issue, it was like a computer issue within the Jeep. If that was my car, if I had owned that car, I would have been paying a whole lot of money. I would have had to pay to tow it, to fix it, everything. It would have cost me literally hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And in this case, because it was a lease, I got picked up by that tow company for free, got towed to Jackson for free, and got it fixed in like 2 hours for free. So don't sleep on leases. I think it's a brilliant idea to do. I'm really excited to see what we end up doing with my truck. I might mod it. I might just keep it how it is and then sell it in a year. But either way, I'm hoping to get into a nice Bronco or a Raptor in the next year or two. Fingers crossed. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. I know this isn't necessarily like fitness advice, but I think this is pretty good life advice. I have literally no regrets when it comes to doing what I've done with my leases and my purchases with vehicles. Being able to drive a brand new, reliable car with all the perks and benefits that come with a lease, all the protection plans, the insurances, and everything like that makes it just absolutely worth it, in my opinion. And I got really good credit now. So thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.